Hello, this is going to be a lesson on linear inequalities, basically on how to graph linear inequalities. First thing we need to talk about is the signs. If you have the signs greater than or less than, basically without the little line underneath, basically you're going to use empty circles and dashed lines. If you have greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, in other words, the little sign with the little line underneath, and sometimes you might see it like this. Okay, that's the same as that. Okay, if you see any of that, they are the same, and basically you're going to use solid lines. Okay, and you're going to use solid points for your points. Okay, so also, if you have the symbols greater than or equal to, and your line is like this, you're going to be shading above the line. Okay, and basically, how do you decide if it's above the line? Basically, what you can do is just draw like a straight line like this, and here's the line, and you want numbers that are greater than this point that I'm pointing to. So greater than would be over here. So since my pencil lands over here, I can shade this area. Okay, so for example here, where's greater than? Well, pick a point, the point on the line, and look for a point greater than or above that point. So it'll be right here. Alright, so you have this diagram here that helps you illustrate where greater than would be if the lines were a positive slope, a negative slope, horizontal, and if it's vertical, just think about like this. What are the numbers greater than this point right here? It would be to the right, because the more you go to the right, the greater the number. Okay, and same thing applies for the less than. If you have less than or equal to, you're going to shade below the line. Okay, and here are the representation where the shading would go. Okay, also if you have a vertical, less than would be the smaller numbers, so you'll be shading to the left. Okay, alright, so let's take a look at letter A. Letter A here, I have an equation, you have an inequality, okay, and basically your job is to graph this inequality. So basically we're going to do the same as before. We're going to identify our M and our B. Our M here happens to be negative 2/5, and our B is positive 1. I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is actually a negative 2/5. It's just that it's kind of hard to see right there. Okay, but anyway, as before, we always start with the B. Now, because this is less than, it doesn't have the little line underneath, we're going to use empty circles. So we're going to start at 1 with an empty circle, and from there, we're going to go down 2 over 5. Whoops. Down 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2 over 5, and then we're going to go backwards, up 2 over 5, and up 2 over 5. And we're going to connect these points with a dashed line. Alright, and now we're ready to shade. And because this is greater than, we're going to shade above the line, or if you think of it, just imagine a line, a vertical line. Imagine that you're putting a pencil right there where the line touches the line. Where will be the points greater than this point right here that I'm pointing to? It will be above the line. Okay, so that means it will be this region right here that you're going to shade. Alright, let's go to the next one. The next one, I have 6x minus 4y less than or equal to 12. Okay, first order of business is to get the y alone. So we're going to send the 6x to the other side. So this would be negative 4y less than or equal to 12 minus 6x. And now we need to get the y alone, so we're going to divide by negative 4. So that means the negative cancels, the 4 cancels, the y is alone. Now, this is a very important rule about inequalities. Anytime you divide by a negative number, in other words, you have a negative number here on the denominator, you're going to flip the sign. So we need to flip the sign. Okay, very important rule that you cannot forget. And then a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Alright, the next one, negative divided by a negative is a positive, and can I reduce 6/4? And the answer is yes, I can reduce 6/4. 6/4 becomes 3/2, and we have the x. Alright, very well. Now that I have the y alone, I'm going to identify my m and my b. My m is 3/2, and my b is -3. So with that, I'm going to go to the graph, and because I have this symbol, I'm going to use solid points as well as a solid line. I'm going to start at -3, and from there I'm going to go up 3/2, up 3/2, up 3/2, up 3/2. And then once I've done the right side, I go back to the starting point and I go down 3/2, down 3/2, and there is my line. Now that I have that, I'm going to shade, and shade here it says greater than, so where would be above the line? Okay, so greater than means above the line. So here's the mountain, or like here's the line, and above the line would be over here. Okay, so you would shade right there. One thing you can think of is also like I try to say is a mountain. Like imagine this is a mountain. Where would be above the mountain would be over here. Where would be below the mountain or underground would be over here. So greater than is above the mountain, so it'd be, you're going to be shading right there. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next problem on the next page. So let me turn the page here. Just give me a second. All right. Here we go. Here's letter C. All right. This equation is this inequality is much bigger. Okay, it has parentheses. So first order of business is get rid of those parentheses. So this will become 5x plus 10y greater than 3y minus 15. You bring down to -13. Now, what we want before we can do any graphing is get the y alone. So we're going to do some rearranging. Okay, basically we want the y on the left side, and we want all the numbers without a y and numbers with x on the right. So that means we're going to rearrange here. So that means, is the 5x in the right place? No, it's not. I'm going to send it over to the other side. So this becomes -5x. Is the 10y in the right place? Yes, it is. Positive 10y is in the right place. 3y is not on the right place, so we're going to send it to the other side. So it becomes -3y. The -15 and -13, they are on the right place, and I'm going to go ahead and combine them. It gives me -28. All right. And I just put it there. Now, on this side, I can combine -3y plus 10y, which gives me 7y. Alright. Now I need to get the y alone, so we're going to divide by 7. So this would be y greater than -5/7x. And negative divided by a positive is a negative, so it would be -4. Alright, if you notice here on this problem, I do not flip the inequality sign because I did not divide by a negative number. Remember, you only flip an inequality sign if you're dividing by a negative number. Okay? Alright, let's identify our m and b. Our m is going to be -5/7, and our b is going to be -4. Very well. With that information, we're going to graph our line. According to this, we're going to use empty circle because it's less than. It doesn't have the little line underneath. So, we're going to start with -4 with an empty circle. And from there, we're going to go down 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 7. So there's where my next point's going to be. And that's the only point I can do it on the right. So I go back to the starting point, and I go up 5, over 7 to the other side. And that's the only point I can do on that side. Now I'm going to connect with dashed lines. And basically what the dashed lines means is that the answer, I mean, if I have a point right here, that's not part of the answer, okay? If it was a solid line and I had a point right there, that means that point is part of the answer. That's what the dashed line versus a solid line means, okay? Now our job is to shade. According to this, I need to shade above the line. So above the line would be over here. And so that means any point over here in the shaded region, so like say this point right here is part of the solution. This here is part of the solution. This point right here is not part of the solution because this is a dashed line. This would not be part of the solution because it's not in the shaded region. Only the things that are only the points that are on the shaded region are part of the answer. Okay? Alright. Here we have those graphs where you have a letter and a plain number. So if you remember, if you have y and a plain number, you're going to go to the y at 3. So 1, 2, 3. And you're going to draw a horizontal line. And in this case, it's going to be a solid line. Okay, and this is saying to shade below the line or less than 3. Numbers less than 3 would be below the line. So this would be my graph. Okay, alright, then we have x greater than -3. So you go to the x-axis and find -3, and you're going to draw a vertical line. And because this is greater than, you're going to do a dashed line. And because it says it's greater than, the number is greater than -3, would be to the right of it. So it would be right there. Okay, so this concludes lesson B4. And for this lesson, you're going to have a handout and also some problems on this page. And these are wrong, so please check on the website for the correct pages, okay? Because there were some changes made. So please, there's a handout and also there's problems out of the book, okay? Thank you very much for your time and have a great day.